Hi, my name is Frankie. I'm 18 and I'm living with lupus. I was a competitive cheerleader for 5 years, and I used to go to practice twice a week and tumbling once a week. And I used to always come home with pains in my joints, my knees, my elbows, fingers, mostly everywhere in my body.
Around the time prior to before she was diagnosed with lupus, she would come home complaining about her muscles hurting or her joints, and I just blew it out the window because I felt like she didn't want to do her tumbling or cheer practice. One day or one night, I was in my living room. I was asleep. It was about 3 in the morning, and Frankie was crying, and I got her up and took her to the hospital, and they ran tests and they said there was nothing wrong. And looking at her, she was swollen, she could barely walk, her hands were swollen, face was swollen. I knew something was wrong with my daughter. That next day she went to school, and she got out of school, and I could still see that she was in pain. So I took her to the doctor, her doctor, and they were closed and said they weren't taking any more patients. And I asked them, please, there's something wrong with my daughter. Can you please see her today? And her doctor checked her, and they diagnosed her with chronic arthritis. And they told me it was actually 5:30 p.m. and Quest Diagnostics was closing at 6, and they asked me if I could get there in time, and I told them I would be there for her to take her blood test. And the doctor told me she would call me Monday to let me know if there was anything wrong. She would call me on Monday. 9 o'clock Friday morning, I received a call, and she told me that Frankie was positive for ANA and she wanted to refer us to UCSF.
So when I got to UCSF, I met my doctors, Dr. Ling and Dr. Lawson. They were asking me just a lot of questions and basically trying to get to know me as a person and know my family history and what kind of diseases run in our family. They sent me home with orders to go get my blood drawn at Quest, and I had the orders of the papers were literally this thick. And I'm a person that's scared of needles, so when I'd see all the blood they had to take, it was literally like a lot of blood. And so as a week went past, I had like 2 weeks I think went past, and I went to get my blood work done, and then it's finally time for another appointment with them. So I drive back to San Francisco, me and my mom, and we get there, and then now they have like facts now, like the real deal raw, and they can tell me what I have. So I was, when I get there, we go through the blood work, and it shows that like I'm like borderline, like very barely, like not making the lupus mark. And so basically they were like, yeah, you have lupus. So when I found that out, I just kind of looked, and I'm like, you don't really understand it. Like, somebody tells you you have a disease, you're like, whoa, like I have something I have to live with. Okay, I don't want to cry yet. And so they got to the line and said, oh, you have a lupus. And I still didn't know what lupus was. I'm just like, I just heard them say that on America's Next Top Model because the lady had lupus. And I'm just like, okay. So when they break it down to you, they're like, oh yeah, you have arthritis, and your organs can start failing. And I'm like, I'm only 16. I thought this happens to old people. So I'm just like, that whole day after that, I was kind of like out of it. Like, didn't really want to talk to nobody, couldn't eat for some days. My mom was right there, and we just kind of cried and cried and cried. And they sent me home with like meds, like a lot of medicine, and I didn't even know how to take pills at the time. Like, I used to chew my pills, so I had to finally learn how to swallow pills. And So basically from that point on, my life changed forever.
And I remember sitting in that room and we just cried. I felt like, why did it have to be her? If it could be me, I wish I could take her pain away. I wish it could be me. Having a child with a chronic illness and there's nothing you can do about it, it makes you feel helpless as a parent. You have to be strong for your child. And I'm an emotional person, so I'm a crier. But you have to tell her everything's going to be okay and it's okay. But when you're not able to do anything about it, I feel like somewhat like I'm failing.
When I found out I had lupus, it changed my life because I couldn't cheer no more, couldn't be with my team as they went to compete at Worlds. So at that time I realized, I said my cheer career was done and over with. My little sister was still cheering at the time, so I kind of had to watch her go to her cheer comps, and we couldn't attend her last one because I was in house sick. Because they were in LA and I can't be in the sun, and I was still hurting and I was still swollen. As time went past, I developed a kidney disease, and I had to get a kidney biopsy. So one of my organs were kind of failing. My kidneys release and leak a lot of protein, and my body retains a lot of water, so I can't like eat a lot of salty foods and stuff. And at first I started on pills with chemo, and my hair started like thinning out, and then time went past. I was feeling a little bit better, and I said I want to cheer again. So I started cheering, and I remember one day my hair was like falling out, and like I had like bald spots in my head. So I called my mom like, "Mom, I'm bald." Like literally bald. And like she didn't I don't think she comprehended over the phone. Like she didn't know how bad it was. So when she came and she was like, like, "You're bald." So, and then the next day I had my friends at school, they had put on like a lupus day. So everybody at school had to wear purple. They had like facts, like balloons with facts on them about lupus, and cupcakes, and they had to sign these big poster boards for me. And I couldn't go to school with my hair like that, so we had to like figure something out. So we had to like weave it up, and like my hair was like literally nothing was there, like my whole middle was like gone. And when I went to school or whatever, and that day I text my doctor like, "I'm balding," and she's like, so I sent her pictures, and she's like, "Whoa." So she's like, "Can you come in tomorrow?" And then I had practice, so I'm like, mind you, I'm on a whole different team, so I don't know these girls like that. And I go to practice. I called like the coach like, "Oh, I don't want to go to, Frankie can't make it to mom's like, Frankie can't make it to practice. She has a doctor's appointment and her hair's falling out." I go to practice, and I had a hat on. Then I believe after that, like, I didn't go to school or whatever, and then I just finally cut it off. I was just like, forget it, like, it's nothing there. So I cut my hair off, and I remember walking into practice with my haircut, and everybody's looking like, "Oh my gosh." And so I remember one girl was like, did you do it for the cancer? Like, does someone have cancer? I'm like, no, I have lupus. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's okay. Like, some people, they really didn't know like that.
My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer in October 2012. At the time, Frankie was going through her symptoms, but we didn't know what was going on. I dealt with some issues with medications with my mother. They over-medicated my mother to where she was hallucinating, and they told me that it was her illness, but all along we found out that it was the medication. And my mom, thank God, she stopped herself. She just literally stopped taking the medication, and she was back to normal within a week. So with Frankie being ill and having to deal with all of these medications, it's hard because I feel like Western medicine is, how can I put it? It is a money-making business. That's how I feel. So to watch my daughter go through these things, I want to know what the cause is. What is the problem? We don't get that. We don't know, but we'll give you this medication to cover this problem. But it has side effects that's going to cause this other problem. And with that, as a parent, and having to make the decision, is this medication okay? Or if it's not okay for my child, is a problem for me, because it's times when I feel like a lot of the people don't die from lupus. People die from complications of lupus or medication from lupus. So what do you do when you have a child that if she doesn't take this medication, she can't walk?
So I started chemo, and I did 2 rounds of chemo. First, they started me off with pills, methotrexate, and then I would just take 7 of those pills like once a week, like on a Sunday. I remember I take those on Sunday, and that's when my hair fell out, and my hair started thinning out, and then they put me on cell set, which made my hair fall out more, and that's when I just first said I'll cut it off. When I first got my chemo, I really felt like I was about to die, because I couldn't breathe, and I think when you know your death, I think people know death, and that's when I kind of felt like I thought I had a couple hours left, and I'm gonna die. I was like, yeah, it's coming, but I never said nothing. It's actually my first time saying something. So then I was throwing up a lot. So, and then being in the hospital for 10 days, you're like, it's kind of like jail. No, I never been, but that's kind of jail I would think jail is like you can't do anything, you're in the bed, and then it's just, I don't know, it's hard.
Having a support system is very important when you're dealing with a chronic illness. I have to say, I thought that our support system probably would have been, I thought more people would be involved.
My support system is my family that's at home, my household, which is my mom, my sister, my 2 brothers, and my stepdad. I also have a support group that I attend the first Wednesday of each month, and I have a group of friends. We call each other the Fab Five. It's Samantha, Kylie, Monica, and Sabrina, and then the 5th one is me, so we call each other the Fab Five.
It was hard for me to make this GoFundMe account because I've never been one to ask anybody for anything. I've always believed in, I've struggled, and, my husband's a business owner, and, business is up and down. And when you make this GoFundMe account, it's kind of like putting, people in your personal business and letting them know how vulnerable you are and the struggle that you're having. And so that's really hard for me because I'm like that kind of person that's nobody's business, and I'm the person that I like to help people. So it's hard being on the other side of the fence, that person that needs it, because I'm a person, I love helping people. But I guess I have to, put my pride to the side, because how can you feel okay with helping someone but have a problem with receiving help?
Oh, well, my mom came to me about the idea of me doing a video for my GoFundMe. I really kind of didn't want to do it. I didn't want her to make me a GoFundMe account because I didn't want to seem needy. So when she made that and she was like, post this and did it, I'm like, no, let's not do that. Like, I don't want to seem like we're out here begging anyone or whatever. And so when the video kind of came about, I was kind of like iffy. I was like, I don't know, it was just kind of weird. Like, this is normal to me. I don't know. Like, when you get used to something, you're like, it's kind of hard for me to talk about it anyway. So I knew being on camera was gonna be like more hard. I'm not a victim of lupus. I'm a survivor. I'm a college student, so I have to, of course I'm gonna miss a lot of the school days, and if I'm sick, I don't go. If I have appointments, I can't go. So I'm with the disability program at Delta, and they kind of help me work with my teachers, like, so that my teachers can know what's going on. If I have an appointment, they just say, bring me a note, and I get excused from it. If I need extra time taking a test, they'll help me on that. So with that program, it's kind of been like a good help, because I passed all my classes my first semester of college, and as of right now, I'm doing fine. So with this disease, it's caused my family a financial strain, and it kind of hurts because, like, at 18, I don't feel like you should ask your parents for money. You know, you should be kind of out there doing it on your own, but I can't keep a job nor get one right now, so I have to ask, and I don't like doing that, and just been like a struggle. But I don't know, I don't really let it get to me. Like, my mom always told me my job is to go to school and get my education so I can become a nurse. So that's what I'm doing. Kind of have to put school first, and if a job wants me, they'll keep me, and if not, then stick with school.